here on ZeN TV with a quick fire perspective, looking at stories that's got our attention. I'm going to start with this one, folks. It's been 8 years since Madeline McCann disappeared.
Wow.
A police union chief says it's time we ended the search for Maddie so officers can focus on threats to the public. What's your views, folks?
I think aren't they already doing that, focusing on threats to the public, which is part of the Terrorism Act and the amount of money they gave.
What did they mean? The 8 officers in Portugal are going to add to the protection of the public?
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, they moved it from the Portuguese police to the Metropolitan Police here in the UK.
Okay.
And I believe it's cost the taxpayer £10 million since the Metropolitan Police took over.
You know, when I look at the whole McCann case, how the family, how the parents have not been prosecuted, I have no idea. You know,
What would they be prosecuted actually for?
Well, let's understand what's happened here. You know, back in the day, there was a TV series called The Latchkey Kids.
Yes.
And it was about kids, right, who, when they came home from school, their parents weren't there, so they had to let them themselves in and look after themselves. Now, a child, you know, you wouldn't expect a child of 8 to be coming home by themselves and whatever. But I get it, that happens sometimes. We're talking about a child of 3. Was it 3?
Yeah, 3 years old, I think.
Right. Looking after even younger. So,
Yeah.
and you know, the parents said, you know, you could see the house from where they were dining.
Yeah.
The problem what you've got is the house wasn't stolen. It was still there when they got back. It was the child that disappeared.
Yeah.
Now for me, right, you think to yourself, you know, I'm not a legally minded individual. If you don't believe me, look at my prison record and speak to the late great Shaw Taylor, he'll tell you. But you know, there must be a law that falls into negligence.
Yes.
Of course.
You know,
Of course.
You
And
know that.
the thing is, these aren't regular people.
No.
I've been on holiday before with the kids. Gets to 11 at night, I think, I won't mind the knees up, but you know what? I'm responsible. Got kids, staying in the room, watch TV.
Yeah.
They've still got good jobs.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they could have afforded a
Yes,
childminder.
Yes.
You know, these
I
aren't
know.
regular people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now you're going to go and drink wine and do what you're doing, and
Yeah.
you're going to leave your 3-year-old. Come on, prosecute them at least.
100%.
What type of message is sending out by not prosecuting?
That's right.
Yeah.
Everybody
It's
going on to do that. That's what they're
100%.
saying. That's what they're
I
saying.
100% agree. I think it's a joke.
But some might say that's a bit harsh because they've already lost a child, and why would you want to do that to a person who's lost a child?
And, yeah, I agree with
You
you.
know,
That's a
I
good
agree
point
with you.
too.
I'd say this, right? There's a word.
Not that I'm
called-
agreeing with that,
No,
but
no,
some
That's a
might say
valid
that.
point.
Yeah.
That's a valid point.
There's a thing called plausible deniability, right? So if you remember the time 9/11 when Mr. Bush sat in that classroom.
With his book upside down.
Yes, right.
Pretending he was reading
Yeah.
it like that. Yeah.
So you could, you know, if they asked him the question, did you know anything about it? Because they're not told you anything in advance, he could deny it and be plausible.
Yeah.
Now, I look at the McCanns, right, and they would turn around to you and say, well, we was here with our friends, having a meal, and then it all happened. When you actually break down their stories, right, they'll tell you, you know, that somebody broke in through that window, they believe. Then they retract that statement. There's too much movement of their statement. If you told the truth, there's no movement.
Yeah, it's solid, isn't it?
Exactly,
Yeah.
but it kept moving, it was fluid.
I know it's supposed to be quick fire, but I've
Sure.
got one more question. Which other missing person case has cost £10 million or put that amount of money towards a missing person?
Lord Lucan,
Yes.
that's it. You know, and you know, you look and you think there's
So
celebrity
why?
backers.
Why have they had this support?
Well, to me, what's the point of having celebrity backers if the celebrity backers aren't backing financially? You know, you got people like Richard Branson, to name but one, who backs them. Right?
But
He
why?
could pay
Who
that in his
are they?
pocket change.
Why?
For me, right, I look back to the film Big Trouble in Little China, and it was all about getting this woman who's got this unusual eye, and you could use her in spells, etc., etc. Look at Madeline McCann. Look at the eye. That is an unusual eye. And you know, if you look at people again, most people think in the West we're not into witchcraft, we're not into those sort of dark arts. But it doesn't matter if you're not into it. There are people who are.
Definitely.
And if you look at the case, you realise to yourself, you know, there's lots of similarities about people who have been taken away and disappeared through the earth many times, because that eye is unusual. And you know, I just still think to myself, again, I can't prove it, but I don't believe that these are loving parents who have just lost a beautiful child. I can't think of anybody that I know would do something as stupid as that. I can't think of it. I can't think of a single person and expect the media to back them. When the Sky News did a report about trolls who are giving the McCanns a hard time, Sky went round to the house of this lady who lived in Leicestershire and named and shamed her. Within 3 days, a woman committed suicide.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right, and the thing is, what that lady's crying was highlighting what the McCanns did to this child.
Yeah.
That's what, and that's not to me. That's not an offensive
No.
person.
No.
You know, they're pointing out you are lying. You're a parent. Your job is to look after children. Children don't look after parents.
Yeah.
So when you have children and you do something so negligent, to say the least, and you don't even face no prosecution.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Chef, over to you.
Next story, yeah? This is a story I've just read. It's about a teenage Muslim convert, 19 years old. Apparently idolised the murder of Fusilier Rigby. And he was caught on the street with a 12-inch knife and a hammer, supposedly on his way to try and behead someone. He's been charged, been found guilty. He's been sentenced to 22 years in jail now. So my point with this quickly is it's a 19-year-old. With jail, especially in 2015, is, you know, you look at the new BMW, you got the 2015 version, right? You look at phones, you got the 2015 version, right? Why is the criminal justice system the same thing that we had in the 1913s? Why is it that they think locking someone in a cell for an amount of time is going to change anything?
It's punishment, not
That's my
rehabilitation,
issue.
isn't it?
That's my issue. Why is that not being advanced? We've got all this, you know, all these scientists, all these doctors. I'm telling you, you lock somebody up for 22 years and don't address his issues, it's not going to change. 95% of people in jail have got mental health issues and people aren't addressing these things. So when you let them back into society, are they going to be better off? Chances are they might not be. Yeah.
There was an article, well, a tweet I've read this week asking that very question. Does prison
Really?
work? Does
Someone
prison
stole
work?
my idea. Yeah. Does
Yeah.
it work?
Stole your-
Does
Stole
it
your
work?
idea.
It's not working. However, in some other countries, for example, this guy that went around and did this rampage, killing all these people, that was the young politicians
Yes.
a few years ago.
Yeah, it's not Norway, was it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
In Norway, he is going to be living better than he did on the outside, because you have an apartment, you have, you know, get him, he's qualified in his degree, and you address the issues. You know, he's probably not even going to do 22 years. Fact is, he's going to come out a better educated person he is than the person that he went in as.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what the issue I have with the UK and America. Do you know there's more black people now in jail in America than there was in slavery?
Yes.
Wow.
Jeez.
It's a business. That's
Yeah.
my point. It's a business. Why is it a business to lock people up and then you complain that they're worse off when they come out?
Slave labour.
Do you know why? Because prisons are changing to private industry anyway, for a start. And then rehabilitation is not what they want to do. They want to punish you for it.
Yeah.
And through that, I think it's to hold you in a prison cell overnight in in a police station, something like £1,000.
Yeah.
To keep you in a prison cell in a jail for a week is something like £2,500 to £3,000. Now, if you're a private jail, all you're providing is a cell, a means to wash,
Exactly.
eat some basic food.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you are then being employed to do work. Because when I worked in Loudon Grange prison as a security advisor,
Work there, you said.
I worked there, yeah. Yeah.
Work, not went.
I
Work,
worked.
not
I know my complexion is probably not the right thing, but yeah, I worked there. I watched people making McDonald's Happy Meal boxes,
Yeah.
Marks and Spencer hangers and stuff like that, and they were being utilised. And then that prison was making a profit off sending that stock out to Marks and Spencer's and McDonald's. So it's all about benefiting the
It's a
private
vicious
industry
circle,
behind
it's a
it.
circle. Then that person comes out and gets arrested again, and you're
Yeah.
in the system, but that is not helping the individual.
Yeah.
But eventually, you don't help them. You're gonna feel it. Someone's daughter, could be a politician's daughter's gonna end up getting attacked by someone who's come out of jail. Mental health is a problem,
Yeah.
especially in jails. Obviously, this young man who's 19, you can't just write off his life. Surely it needs to be addressed.
Something's
He needs
something's
counselling.
happened.
Yeah, all these things need to be addressed in jail rather than just locking him in a cell. I don't think that's going to help the situation.
Do you remember that story that came out this week as well about that 39-year-old? Sorry, that bloke had been in prison for 39 years.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
And they gave him £1 million compensation because they realised they'd got the wrong bloke. Now, £1 million compensation, I think it worked out to be,
£400 and something a week.
yeah, for all the time he'd been in there.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's not like a great wage,
Yeah.
but it's not when you're in locked up and it's the
You're
wrong
not in
person.
life.
And I think to myself, right, that they say that if you've been in prison for 10 years, you are now institutionalized.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, a friend of ours himself says he came out last
Yeah.
year in June and he couldn't adjust for the first 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, wants to go back.
Yeah, once you go back, he
Literally wanted to go back.
wants to go back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not the type of person you would never even think that of him.
No.
And he says, I found it really difficult because he'd been how long did he have? 6 years.
That's right.
Yeah, and the sad thing is though, when I go and talk to young people in jails, and a lot of them, they like it because of the structure. The structure they didn't get in the family home.
Discipline.
They didn't have somebody tell them get up at 6 o'clock and it's time for breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And after that you're going to go and do that. Then you're going to go in the gym. They haven't had that structure.
That's right.
And just a little bit of structure is what people need in their
Beautiful.
lives.
And how can we implement that? How can we live that way? How can we teach
How can we
the
teach?
young people?
Well, these are some of the things you need to be learning at school. Life skills. Life skills. It's not just about the stuff to be a better slave and work for the person that you need to work for. Let's teach them life skills. Let's teach them about budgeting. Let's teach them about how to get a job, how to present yourself, about body language, about non-verbal communication. Let's teach the young people about these things, the power of the moon, universal laws. Let's teach them real stuff.
Beautiful.
Otherwise they're not going to be happy.
Yeah. And parenting.
Yeah, that's
How about
Good old fashioned.
Yeah.
It's true.
Of course.
It's true.
Yeah, do you want to have you got any stories? Or?
Just a short one.
Yeah.
This is in the newspaper. Which paper is it? It's the Times on Saturday, and it says Sun journalists cleared of paying public officials to supply stories. And in a nutshell, it was a big, massive case. I think it was 4 Sun journalists who was, in the dock, accused of paying public officials to supply stories as the headline, and they were found innocent. However, one of the there was a person who used to work for the Ministry of Defence, I think it was this lady, and she was prosecuted for receiving payments from the Sun totaling £100,000. So they've given that person, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's 1 or a couple of years in prison. Plus they're going to have to repay this money back. So how can the Sun journalist be found not guilty, yet the person is going to prison that was one of their clients for receiving payments? It doesn't make no sense to me. You see, but again, it's the Sun. I despise that newspaper. They're brilliant journalists, but if being a brilliant journalist involves tapping people's phones and getting their friends to tell information about them,
trash news.
you understand? I hate the paper. Period.
Talk about information. One of the story, another quick fire one is Facebook clarifies what's banned and what's not. So Facebook's had long policies that's forbidden certain types of content such as graphic sexual images or hate speech, but it's been a little bit blurry. So pictures of breastfeeding mothers have been pulled down, whereas pages that promote rape haven't.
Wow.
So interestingly though, in that same clarification update, it also included that increased government requests for user data and content removal and the extent to how it is compiled was also clarified in that update. So really, should that have been the headline, that the government are asking for more about you rather than the fact that we're going to clarify what you can put up or not?
I can't really, I don't really understand how Facebook works. I've never been on it, to be honest. I can't lie. Am I a big fan of it? Well, what I say is this. I watched the film, The Social Network, I think it's called. I thought it was an amazing film, loved it. Seriously considering that when they make the story of ZeN, asking...
Denzel, you said?
Well, I'm changing my mind now. I'm asking for, the main character who starred in that to play me. Yes, we may look not exactly the
Who
same.
is it?
The
It's a white guy.
guy from Different Strokes.
What are you talking about, Willis?
Are you not talking about Arnold? That's so wrong.
You got me out here.
That's right. You must leave now. So I don't
I'm
really
not looking at
know.
you seriously.
Right, I don't really know Facebook. I think this. If you put your whole life on any social network, really and truly, you've got to be careful. Your whole life? You're telling people, I'm not in anymore. I've got a serious telly, but I'm not in today.
Yeah, nothing's not bagel.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people's, I've seen people who've put things like this childbirth or stillbirth, or they've shown a picture of a baby and then lost the baby and put all that up there. It is very, very detailed to people's lives.
Why do you think people do that though? What do you think makes somebody want to publicly show their life like? Don't get me wrong, there is things that you might want to show publicly. right? But then so deep like that, why would somebody want to do
I
that?
think we've lost the art of communication, and in a way, Facebook. The difference between Facebook and Twitter, G, is that people do comment. So there's a lot more interaction.
On which one?
On Facebook.
Okay.
There's a lot more. There actually is a lot more interaction with something you've posted.
Okay.
So I've seen people put up there about suicidal thoughts, you know, and things like that. And people, I've done it. I've responded to people who've put up a post that didn't seem quite righted. And like, are you okay? Private message them. Do you need something? And then you get, like you said, what was that second level of?
Second level message. It's a message, a cry for help.
So you get that. You get that via Facebook. You get that in a sense of, because maybe you haven't got anyone to talk to directly.
So that's good.
Yeah, in the sense of the negative like that, you're crying out for help. But then I think it becomes addictive. I think it gets to a point where there's no line, there's no border, there's no filter.
If I had to give people advice, right, I'd say to them, find a friend. Find somebody that you can be a friend with.
You just need one.
Yeah, I need one. You know, I'm kind of blessed, you see, because I find it easy to make friends, but there are some people who will struggle to make friends. Yeah. You know, Facebook cannot be your friend.
No.
It can be a surrogate, but it can never really truly be what you really, really need.
Yeah, and that's one of the unique selling points of Facebook is the fact that when we link up on there, it says
friends.
You are now friends.
Yeah, of course.
So for somebody who's got no friends,
yes,
I've got thousands.
I've got a friend.
Yes.
But also another thing about Facebook and negative is that people put the highlight of their lives in there and lie and exaggerate truth. But the flip side is somebody else reading it believes it and thinks, right, you know, Chef, he's a youth worker, he's doing this, he's doing that, and then they get insecure about themselves. So it's kind of, in one sense, it works, the sort of innovative community of it, but the flip side, the negative connotations, the negative repercussions.
And again, that's the pressure of the images that we want to put out of ourselves. Who is going to say, I'm not going to put on Facebook, I've got a bellyache today. I'm not going to put that out on there. I'm going to say I feel great. Because it's the image I'm forcing out there of this looking perfect. You know, who's going to put it on their status? Oh, do you know what? I just went to my bank and it said that I'm £4 overdrawn. That's what my status. That's what happened to me today. What am I going to put it on Facebook? No, I'm going to tell you when there's 100 grand on there.
That's
You're
right.
damn right. I'm going to tell you there's 100 grand on there. Why am I programmed like that?
Yeah.
You know. Again, it's about this perfection that we all strive to have.
You discussed it last time you were on the panel, and you said the effects on probably a young lady who's of teenage years. If she puts a dress on and she doesn't get likes off it, then it's going to make her feel.
And on the flip side as well, just before we finish, I've been in contact with a female before on Facebook. I thought she sounded like a beautiful lady. I might have a little date with this lady. I've met her. There's nothing like on Facebook. Catfish. Nothing like on Facebook. Nothing like that.
That's called catfish.
So we have to be aware of what we're getting drawn into.
Right.
We have to be aware.
I know we're going to finish, but the thing is, a friend of mine says that's exactly what she does. Gorgeous girl, and she's very much a sort of socialite. And whenever she finishes with someone, she changes the profile picture of a sexy little dress she's wearing, and instantly gets people private messaging her. And it actually happened to me too. Not that I changed it for the second picture, but I changed my profile picture, and there was like 2 or 3 people I don't even know private messaging me.
Wow.
So people use it for their own gain. You're listening to ZeN TV. We could go on, enjoying the conversation, news that matter, news that get our attention, and the positive things that are happening in this world. Got to say thanks to the guys on the couch, to G-Man, to Cal, and to Chev.